Good video. Yeah, I really just haven't had time to. So many things to get to, so much to do, blah blah blah. Now I'm gonna waste some time on Hythloday. Well, that stupid Quantaka guy made some video. I didn't watch it. This, frankly, he just doesn't deserve my time, and I have to do an awful lot of penance, before I would find him to be relevant or meaningful at all. But anyway, on this immigration thing, and the argument between me and Piro, fundamentally, and there's nothing to argue. You make the point, and nobody's responds to the point. So what's the point, right? There's no point. There's no point in discussing it rationally with people because they don't have a rational perspective. They're just going to pretend everything's going to be okay. Okay, says you. I don't think you have a clue regarding how reality works, and that's all you can say because they obviously don't have a clue. So I'll get to that. Just a couple of little things. I mean, people message me now and then, and I don't pay much attention, and I'm sorry about that. I really should pay more attention to my channel and try to network or something and all that. Well, I just can't be bothered. But, very nice people, and they offer me stuff, and I should say, yes, cigarettes, send me cigarettes. I should, but I just don't, because, it just feels like some sort of usury or something. Anyway, but, people are just very nice. But, I just don't do anything, and I should. Well, anyway, there's just some funny people here and there, or something. Well, anyway, this girl is she's just kind of funny. Anyway, college sucks. Anyway, it's just, I think it's I haven't watched the whole video, but she's just, she's funny, and she's just, life is ludicrous, and she's dealing with that. Best she can. Anyway, so, Sarah something or other, blah, 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 leave a link below, what the hell. She might not even want the attention. I mean, why should I even mention channels, because, you're not going to get anything good out of it. You're not going to get any good attention, right? My subscribers generally suck. Anyway, there's this other guy I just thought I'd mention, Gale Force or something. He's got a great voice. Reading poetry, but the thing I was impressed by, I mean, it's all chicks in the comments. Just, all chicks. Every single one of them, I think, is a chick. So you're just saying, yeah, that's the thing, I mean, be a guy with an icon like that, and read poetry to women. That's the channel I would have. That's the way to go. Yeah, very smart. Anyway, if I didn't have to do this serious real life shit, you know what I mean? It's just, I would learn a lesson. Yeah. I mean, you got to be a master of oral, yeah, to get this many women, on YouTube anyway. I mean, YouTube, it's kind of tough. Anyway, I was just impressed. What can I say? So I'll leave a link to that channel too. He's sort of got a thing going. He's got some subscribers and stuff, so he doesn't need the help. But yeah, it's just impressed. So anyway, that's all. I just thought I would. Sorry. I should do this for all the people who say hello, but I should do a lot of things I don't do. Alright, so I'm going to jump ahead to, there's just no point in playing the beginning of this. This is just Hythloday crying and whining because, man, you talk so, I'm going to interrupt that. I'm going to be just like a minute. Wait a minute, I'm complaining about a minute, but I'm going to try to be good. Whatever you do, you fail at. But whatever. So I'll jump ahead to 6 minutes where he starts to get to the subject of the video, right? So the first 6 minutes, no subject, just a bunch of ragging and complaining. And then I'll jump ahead again because this isn't going to last very long where he stays rational. Well, rational in the sense of making something like an argument, maybe.
And also, it's small chunks of
So again, we're going with this testimony argument as if it means something. People believe in God. People believe in spiritual bullshit. People believe in multiverses. People believe in all kinds of nonsense. Their self-testimony that they are winning, right? That's like somebody at the Olympics saying, I should get the gold medal or something. It just doesn't mean anything. You know, I mean, as an argument to me anyway, I'm just saying that, you know, the fact that some idiots will say, I loved having cancer, it made me a better person, or something silly like that. It's their prerogative to say silly things, and it's my prerogative to say that's a silly fucking thing. And I don't have any obligation to respect people's testimony regarding how they're winning at life. None. Because it's usually going to be based on an ego projection. The simple fact that they can't admit that their investment was silly, stupid, foolish, and idiotic. They'll pretend. People do this all the time. They pretend to be married and they're cheating and they pretend to be fathers and they're not, and they pretend to be all kinds of things that they have no interest in being. They lie constantly and with an ease that, yes, maybe dupes like you could be fooled and think they're telling the truth. Yeah, maybe. But, yeah, no. Sorry, no sale.
No matter the suffering of the arthritis, the loss of the children, they've reconciled the idea of...
No, reconciled is just another word for rationalized, right? So they've come up with some lies and bullshit to make it all okay. Silver lining crap. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, this isn't...
death, the idea of old age suffering, and their net valuation of their life is usually in the positive.
You know, all that to say nothing, right? To say people testify that they are super special and well worth all kinds of horror. Because they have super special experiences and their joy is super special joy. And blah, 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 blah. Yeah, who cares? I do not. Maybe you do. I do not. Yeah, human testimony isn't worth the bad breath it's composed of.
Arguable.
Well, I just argued, bleeded.
But inmendham has nothing to say on these matters.
I don't know. I've made a ton of videos on these matters. Again, this... What? What am I supposed to say? People are fools? Gee, you haven't heard me say that? Idiots? Morons? Yeah, I think I made a lot of videos on that subject. Idiot. Moron.
Nothing, again, I say, about being the judge, jury, and executioner.
Well, again, it's just not my job. I'm making an argument, okay? And until I've made this, I have made a statement on it, okay? I've told you that the social contract is merely what it is. It's a facilitator of civilization. So as long as civilization is worth maintaining, you maintain the social contract. But I've told you that the truth is different than the social contract. The social contract is a perverse and disgusting compromise with what should be, in my opinion. And certainly if there's rubber hits the road times, if there's times where it's one or the other, I'm going to vote for doing the right thing in spite of the social contract. That's what I'm going to vote for, okay? If it, again, like I said, I would press the red button, a violation of the social contract, because I'm certain it's right. And so, all I can tell you is I'm perfectly comfortable being judge, jury, and executioner until somebody demonstrates where any of my judgments are wrong, or where I've made a conviction that's totally inappropriate. and where I've done something to demonstrate where I've used some horrible bias or some horrible evil, I got paid off or I got free pickles or something, some demonstration of a corruption in my judgment, some demonstration where I'm incorrect to believe most human beings are ignorant, dumb motherfucking cunts who have no clue what planet they're even living on. Why would I want to pollute my good judgment with their imbecilic Mohammed says moron judgment? Why would I want to do that? Why would I think that's the smart thing to do? I should dilute my rational judgment with the judgment of people I know as a certainty to be imbeciles. Yeah, why don't I join a cabal of imbeciles and turn my good judgment into crap? No, I don't think I'll do that. And I'll say innocent until proven guilty. So prove me guilty, and then I'll have to say, oh, I guess I can't play anymore because you proved that I can't play the game fairly or right. So until you prove I'm playing an unfair game, or I'm wrong, then I'm right. Yeah.
No contract about he has no understanding of what it means to be a fair contract. That is.
Okay, so let's go through this one again. I say it's perfectly fair to make an agreement with a woman you're having intimate relations with that understand that we're not altered physically. We haven't been fixed. And so if we're going to have relations, there's certain rules, okay? And so we're going to do this thing where we are certain having a child is the catastrophic result. That is the worst case scenario. Nothing is worse than that. Me dropping dead of a heart attack during the sex is not as bad as you having a baby, right? So we understand the priority, and then we make agreements about what the contingency is going to be in all these little case scenarios, and we cover all our little bases, and we write essentially an insurance policy. That's essentially the responsible thing to do. What if? It's like when you buy anything, you go, well, what if? And you figure out whether it's reliable, and does it have a warranty, and can I take it back if it doesn't work, and you have contingencies because it's the rational thing to do. And so you make an agreement, and you kind of sign it with your full faith. You know, this is what it is. This is how I make life make sense, is that I make agreements with people and I expect them to keep them. So I can make an example of thought experiment thing or whatever you want to call it. Look, you say you make an agreement with somebody. Say you're in a circumstance, there's a flood coming, and you're closer to somebody else's kid and he's closer to your kid. And you make an agreement in, like, you know, whatever, air blood. You say, look, I'll save your kid, you save my kid. And the guy says, yeah, okay. And you understand that this is a serious agreement we just made. You're going to try as hard to save that guy's kid as you would try to save your own kid. And that's the agreement you just made really quick. Okay, yeah, obviously you have to make this quick, but you have well, let's just say you're in New Jersey, he's in Connecticut, where for whatever reason you're responsible for his family and I'm responsible for his family and he's responsible for my family. And we make this agreement. We say, okay, you're going to take this serious, right? Alright, well anyway, the flood comes. You find out he just let your kids get washed away. He didn't do anything, right? I jump into the shark-infested floodwaters. I do all this shit. I'm fucking Jedi guy. I do all this crap. I try to save his kid, blah, 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 blah. I risk my life 10,000 ways. I go through fire. I go through all this shit to save his motherfucking cunt kid. And then I found out he did nothing. He went to fucking McDonald's, the motherfucking cunt. I don't have a right to kill him. It's not perfectly sensible for me to say, hey, this is an unacceptable violation of agreements. You just can't do this. There's no function in life if I can't count on anything. Right? So anyway, in the Piro conversation, the simple argument was made that contracts are the foundation of civilization. That's when human beings could be civilized, because now they didn't have to, it's like they didn't have to show up with 500 sheep and make a deal and then like, okay, we both have guns pointed at each other. Okay, I'll let my sheep go. You let your cows come over here, and I'll let my sheep go over there. We're going to make sure no one gets cheated. Because, see, we had contracts signed by authority, so to speak, with the authorization of authority. You'd put your little seal on it, and a judge could decide, and there'd be arbitration, and there'd be some guarantee that this meant something. So now I didn't have to walk around with my sheep all the goddamn time. So it facilitated economics. It facilitated not having to shoot each other or kill each other, because we could make a contract with each other. And the social contract was basically the same thing. It was basically, hey, look, let's understand that we'll prosecute people for, if they rape your daughter, or if this happens or that happens. And so now we all don't have to have bodyguards, and we don't have to do all this other shit, because we have a social contract guaranteeing some sort of civility. That's civilization, jackass. Now, I'm just going to state, okay, if you don't understand that that's the foundation of civilization, that that's what makes money worth anything, that's what makes everything have value, is the idea of a contract. That's the first step to civilization. That's the cornerstone of civilization. That's the thing you must have, or you have no civilization. That's not a complex argument, right? It's not one that can be refuted rationally. So fuck this. There, that's the bold statement. That, yeah, I think we take a huge step backwards the minute we start excusing weasels from weaseling out of contracts. That we start giving them Twinkie defenses and all this other nonsense as ways of evading their contract. Fuck. Go ahead, lie in court. Who cares? It's no big deal. You were having a bad emotional day. You needed to lie because, yes, there was a lot at stake. You might go to jail if you don't lie. It only hurts somebody else. It's no big deal. It's somebody else. It's okay to lie about somebody else because they're not you. And why are these people doing this, right? I mean, it's like this knee-jerky bullshit. I mean, this knee-jerk liberal bullshit. Oh, we must love the immigrants. They're the foundation, the cornerstone. They're what makes us human. They're smelly scuzz. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway. I mean, really, it's it's just about rational proportion. This much immigration, okay, but you just can't open the floodgate and say go ahead. Every country that has a liability or a problem, yes, let all let all the deficients and the broken and the dysfunctional slide right in. It's just dumb.
There's no inequity of bargaining position.
Well, I mean, this inequity of bargaining position in the context, again, like I stated, then there's no point in allowing women loose in the streets, all right? If they can't make bargains regarding their reproductivity, and it can't mean anything because they have some sort of, I can't emotionally understand what sex is, and I can't emotionally understand what love is, and I can't emotionally understand anything. And at any one moment, I might want to have a baby, and it's just going to be like this spontaneous thing that's going to control all my judgment. Well, then I guess we can't elect a woman president because that would be just silly. Because she'll be so obsessed with having babies or stroking their bare bottoms that they won't be able to apply any judgment at all. I mean, you can't have it both ways. I mean, and I don't even, like I said, this is just such a canard to say that women can't make rational reproductive decisions because they're too emotionally erratic. I mean, you can go with that if that's your belief, but I think you're insulting women. But who knows? Because maybe women can't figure that out.
No unfair conditions.
Yeah, right. Again, in this circumstance, right? Yeah, I walk up to him and say, "Ooh, nice rack," And she says, ooh, nice bulgy bulge. And we say, yeah, let's do some, you know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that was unfair. Fuck you. I mean, you could set up a more romantic circumstance, but it just doesn't matter. The point is this isn't rocket science. Yeah, no, it's basic function of life. And if a woman can't handle it, she can't handle the responsibilities of commitments and relationships, and she can't make promises that mean anything, then I guess we shouldn't be giving women anything in these divorce settlements and everything, because apparently women don't think promises mean anything. I mean, this is just so play both sides of the street, right? 1 minute, oh, gee, I got cheated. I'm supposed to get something for getting cheated, and then the next minute you're saying I want to cheat. I mean, this is just such bullshit. Excusing cheating, and then the next minute you'll be defending the victims of cheaters. What the fuck? Well, anyway, what should I expect except just grotesque duplicity from these assholes?
The one I said.
Oh, whatever. I think it just gets boring here, so I'll jump to 9 minutes, I think. 9 minutes and something or other.
He may find it repugnant. He may find it obnoxious that they can't speak his language. But this is speaking to his feelings about the situation.
So again, he says it's a subjective, like a food taste or something. So the idea that common language facilitates civility between people, he thinks that theory is silly. He thinks it's just as good as if you can't communicate with somebody. If you have to do, you know, all kinds of antics in sign language just to say something like, where's the men's room? He says that's fine. It's not, it doesn't in any way degrade your capacity to live next door to somebody. So if all you can ever say to the guy next door is hola, because you don't understand each other, that's okay, because you don't have anything to talk about ever that means anything. You're never going to have a dispute that needs resolution. You're never going to have conflicts of any kind that where some sort of articulate conversation might save the day. I mean, the argument's just simple, that understanding language and traditions of people is fundamental. Understanding people is fundamental to getting along with people. And that we already have enough problems in the sense that we don't have common traditions, and we don't necessarily have common life experience, and we don't have common values, i.e., I put garbage in garbage cans, they put garbage in streets, or some kind of crap like that. You know, I paint house rational color, they paint house irrational color, whatever. We already have these problems, and those problems are only made some magnitude worse by an inability even to communicate about how much it disturbs me, or why it disturbs me, or why it's important to me. And when I can't even explain to the guy next door that the value of my house is dependent on the value of his house, that's a problem. Now, if you don't understand that, then I can't. What? Speaking a common language facilitates interaction with other humans? What a silly theory. No, it's not silly. You're just such an asshole to think this is some sort of argument, that it's some sort of subjective bigotry that I would suggest. And as I stated clearly in Pierrot's room, I'm not being a bigot for English. Okay? Right now, yes, it's convenient that most of the world is learning English. But if I had it to vote for tomorrow, that we put all the rational languages and all the languages that aren't, like I said, Chinese is a little bit too silly. You know, all the languages that are constructed with a little bit of, you know, good compression ratios, in a hat, you know, French, German, blah, 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 all the, and just pick one. And that'll be the language everybody learns. Okay with me. I'm saying that's rational. That's a sensible thing to do in a world getting smaller and smaller, in a world where people need to communicate with each other in some sort of reliable way. Oh, shit, that's just so outrageous. What an offensive thing to say. Yeah. Oh, that's disgusting. You fucking racist. Whatever. Asshole.
And these feelings have nothing to say about the correctness or rightness or wrongness of immigration per se.
Well, again, if you value communication between people, if you understand the necessity of having common stories and traditions in terms of being able to live with other people, then you see that, yes, if immigrants are no longer migrating to become one of you, but are instead just migrating and bringing their culture and their traditions and their language with them, then there's going to be a problem. And if you can't see that, I'm sorry, you're a blind moron. Yeah, okay. Alright, so jumping ahead, I think this is it. I don't know, these numbers just don't seem right for some reason. 11:30, well, we'll go there. It's not that far further, and then I think we can just play it for a little while.
Is that he is asserting, and he's going to speak over you and say, you're wrong, this is right, with no supporting development in his ideas.
Right, so he's arguing that there's no supporting development in the idea that throughout all of history, you want to watch a country disappear, just watch it immigrate. I mean, immigration has done native populations zero good. There's nobody who's won the immigration war. And Pirro says, well, look at America. Well, America isn't that old. And I'm arguing that you can see that it's not going to be America very long. I mean, America in the sense of English speaking. It's going to be, it'll turn into some sort of, maybe it'll turn into some sort of international kind of melting pot of blah, 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 But I'm just saying, and it's going to become divisive in the sense that you're just creating more and more of these wedges of diversity, and it's going to be less and less possible for the East Coast to live with the breadbasket, to live with the West Coast, and certainly to live with the South. And those trends they're all quite obvious. That instead of the immigration isn't going to knot America together, it's going to rip it to pieces, and that's going to be your your legacy of just being stupid about it. And thinking that here that the other joke here is that all these European countries in America, they're finally growing up, getting a little bit free of this stupid, idiotic, ignorant religion shit. And now they're importing a whole growing population of ignoramuses, religious kooks. So the very infection they're finally getting cured of, they're just inviting they're just saying, MRSA, come on over. Yeah, infect the fuck out of us. Again. And you could almost argue that none of that would matter if we had solid infrastructure, institutions to pick up the slack, but we've sort of demonstrated we don't have that. We've demonstrated that the ghetto, for example, it's not complicated. Go take a trip into the ghetto and see if you can talk to anybody, see if you can relate to anybody, see if you have common stories with anybody. We're already not doing it with our own domestic population. And can't see that writing on the wall? It's pretty damn clear. I'm just saying, it's no skin off my nose, so to speak, because I think you're going to fail for a lot of other reasons anyway. But I'm just saying that this is just making things worse. It's not going to make things better. It's a delusion to think you're going to improve the world by destroying the example countries, destroying the healthy ones with the unhealthy behavior of overpopulation, creating excess unskilled labor. It's just a really bad idea in the world that exists. It's a technology world. There's just no, the cow, the blacksmith of human beings doesn't have any value. Having a strong arm is just useless. Physical strength is of no value, realistically. It's just not a world for just a human animal. You have to be more than just a human animal to have value. That's just the truth. Idiots.
Other than he's saying.
Well, it's not other than he's saying. It's just idiotic. Like I said, I mean, what argument do you want me to make? Again, I can point you to the South American Indians eradicated, the North American Indians eradicated. You know, you can go through most of the European bloodlines eradicated now. I mean, what do you want me to do? Rome, Greek, you can go through every civilization in history, and what's the quickest way to fail? Get invaded. The end.
On the one hand, he began by saying how concerned he was for these non-consensual beings that come into existence.
No, that wasn't in this conversation at all. So again, you want to combine two subjects. You're telling me you're not smart enough to figure out that there's a difference between talking about the A, B, C, D, E, F kind of solutions, right? I mean, my first priority is, yes, let's have a graceful exit, get out of here. The second priority is, well, if we're going to be here longer, which looks like we are, let's be here longer in as civilized a manner as possible with as little horror and torment and torture as possible, right? Because the whole point of eliminating it is, or preventing it, is to prevent this thing called torture. And there's lots of ways this torture thing is still going to happen until you get to the point that you're ready to do this graceful exit thing. So again, where's the contradiction in this, you cunt? I mean, you're really telling me you don't understand that. You don't understand the difference between saying, yes, this is I would prefer this to happen, right? You don't have things you would prefer, like I would prefer to have a nice head of hair. But if I don't have a nice head of hair, well, I'll try to shape this the best I can. Or maybe I'll just cut it all off and that'll be the way. But I'll deal with it as the best I can with each circumstance. But ideally, I wouldn't want to be fat and stupid looking. Yeah. You can't understand that? Too complex? No, I think you can. You're just being so fucking petty. Because that's all you have is your little petty resentment. It's your little best friend, your little imaginary friend is petty resentment.
And he finished up by iterating about how hugely significant it was for the father, how of a change in his circumstance it was.
Again, I didn't say anything about hugely significant. I just made the rational argument, okay, that this is part of it, is that, you know, we have a civilization where you're made accountable for the children you produce. So it's just a fact. Even if it wasn't a fact, even if we didn't force you to be accountable for a woman's choice, not your choice, the fact is it's still your blood. It's still your stuff. And if you make an agreement with somebody about how that stuff's going to be treated, and that person violates the agreement, I'm just saying these are kind of fundamental agreements. These are important agreements. If you think life is torture and somebody else is going to create one with your stuff, yeah, you have a right to be pissed off.
As though the father didn't have a choice in engaging in the risky behavior.
Well, again, it wasn't risky in the sense that you made a contract. Okay, see, you still don't get it, that's what contracts allow you to do, is to mitigate against risk. You buy insurance. That's the rational approach to a circumstance of risk, is creating some sort of assurance against, well, this is what we'll do if that happens. You wouldn't understand that it might be possible that if I did have some will to have kids, that I might make an agreement with a woman about, well, look, if we do amniocentesis and we find out the kid's retarded, or, it has 17 eyeballs or something, we're going to have it destroyed, correct? And you wouldn't think that's a meaningful agreement to make? People should just violate those things routinely? This is a little bit serious, and if people can't take their life seriously and make serious agreements, well, I'm just saying then you don't have civilization.
Yeah. He alleged, he tried to claim that in a court of law, that this contractual idea he has about being able to kill a woman.
I mean, this was really simple, right? The simple premise is that I'm not saying that my behavior should be. I'm saying that there's oftentimes, like say if you had somebody that you loved and they were dying in the hospital and they were torturing the person, and you did the mercy thing, and you figured you would die with them. It would be a murder-suicide or whatever. But you knew, okay, society's not going to let you do it. You're just going to do it. The end. That's, in my opinion, those people are perfectly rational. There's been people in America who've taken their shotgun, blown their heads, their sick wife's heads off, and then blown their own. And I think those were perfectly great human beings. I don't think there's anything criminal in that at all. I think our society is the criminal. Now, if society would persecute me for exercising my contract with this woman, I'm saying that's okay. That's legitimate. I understand that. The contract is mine, and I can take my contract seriously. I'm just saying that that's just a fact. And I'm saying I, in my opinion, would have done nothing wrong. But I'm just saying it's okay if society thinks so. I mean, clearly everybody's not allowed to make life and death contracts with people that can't be to social scrutiny. I'm just saying I would like to see the trial, okay? It'd be an interesting trial, wouldn't it? Where and let's say in the trial it's agreed that she was in full agreement. She was fully competent. Nobody doubted her rationality when she made the agreement. It'd be interesting to see how the jury would decide. Yes, it's okay to break fundamental contracts with other people about fundamentally important things. So now we can't rely on people. So when I tell the other guy, look, I'll save your kids and you'll save my kids because I'm closer to yours and it's more likely both of us will win this way, we can't depend on that. Instead, we're going to have to run a mile to the other place and protect our own kids because we can't depend on other human beings to do it because they can't keep a contract. That's what you're defending, asshole.
Who breaks her promise not to bear a child would lose in court. But this is very similar to the actual cases borne out and explained by Michael Sandel in his Justice series, where a woman who is to be a surrogate mother for a couple refuses to give up the baby, and it is found in the Supreme Court that a woman cannot have fully informed consent in that contract.
Right, he thinks that's a good decision. So he thinks, and maybe some women think that's a good decision. But what that says to me is women aren't reliable. They can't sign contracts. It's basically saying women are too emotionally erratic. So why should I think one should be president? So if a woman can't even make a reasonable agreement about, yes, I like being pregnant, I like having babies, I'll help you have a baby, you give me money, and I'll take your fucking money, and I'll make an agreement to take your husband's sperm, okay, so one of your parties are now genetically involved in my decision, and then I'll later decide to steal the baby. I mean, we know babies have huge value and all this stuff to people and all this kind of thing. So this is, and it's okay for a woman to violate that contract. I'm just saying, if you're going to say women can't keep contracts because they're a woman, I mean, that's what the Supreme Court basically said, right? Women can't be depended on because it's fundamental to being a woman that they can't keep a contract. That's basically the statement. There's no way to fix it. It's built into the woman's genetics that she's an erratic, impulsive idiot who can't make a contract and mean it. Because her biology is going to take over and say, no, 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 I can't do that. It's mine, mine, mine. You think that's a good thing. You think that's a good legal decision. And why? Why do you think so? You think the Supreme Court is God or something? You think they have special knowledge? You think they really understand women? Is that it? No. Yeah, sorry. No sale. I think it's a fucking kick in women's face all over the world to say, no, women have this out. They can at any time start crying and say, I didn't mean it. Yeah, no, I don't think that's it. I'm way too much of a feminist to say that was a good legal decision.
Because she does not know the weight and the significance of her humanity.
Right, then she shouldn't be walking the streets, in my opinion. If somebody doesn't know the significance and the weight of their humanity, then guess what? Let's call them all incompetent and put them on leashes. Maybe they should belong in burqas then. Maybe the Arabs are right. Women are just stupid little animals. And you gotta potty train them and keep them on a leash and put them in pens because they're just too fucking erratic. You don't even put your dog on a leash, asshole. I mean, that's the joke of this. You think your dog can make a rational contract?
In which she will bond and have feelings for that child that grows within her.
And nobody could figure that out, right? Again, that's, almost everything we do, you could say you became habitized to it or something like that. So couldn't this kind of crap be said all over the place? Oh, I just didn't understand fully. I just didn't. And couldn't everybody just do that with everything? Come on.
I find that argument contentious.
I mean, why, yeah, so, okay, so let's just say then every person, every man who has inappropriate sex, okay, at a school or something, let's give him an out and just say, look, he just didn't understand how emotionally involved he was going to become with his students. He had no way of knowing that before he became a teacher. It wasn't until he got into the whole environment and found out how, shiny their butts were. I mean, he just didn't know. So it's okay. He didn't know he was gonna be, he didn't know. Fuck you.
About informed consent. Just one aspect in this dialogue that inmendham, this drivel he spouts about the righteousness of being able to push a lady down the stairs to her.
Well, again, that's not the point. The point was, look, the argument made is that we have all these contingencies, right? Day after pill, abortion, all this kind of stuff. So she has to violate all of these agreements, essentially. And you think that's okay? I'm saying, no, there's no fucking way that could be made okay. But anyway, doesn't matter. I think he's done. Then he goes on to the physics thing. I did a reply to his inane arguments on that subject too.
Death, if she refuses to uphold what he sees as a fair contract.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I take my word seriously. I expect other people to, right? So I'm just saying I haven't violated any sacred agreements with anybody, and I don't intend to. And if I do violate such an agreement, if I take an agreement that important and I cheat somebody, I expect the wrath. You have every right, if I violate you in some way, like to this standard, to, yes, have me assassinated in any way or manner or form. Yes. There's no double standard here. I would hope I would be held to the same standard of my word actually meaning something. Yes. I would hope to be pushed down the stairs if I was ever to do something so grotesque.
And he is happy to be judge, jury, executioner.
Yes, planner, developer, builder, constructor, advisor. I'm happy to be all of these things because I can do that so much better than morons like you. Idiots who can't put reason against reason. You know, you can't add 2 plus motherfucking 2. You know, without you basing it on some petty crap. You know, you're the one keying cars and calling it logic. Fuckhead. So anyway, till next time and such. I think that's all that's I have to do here. I think we're done with this business. Yeah, there's just nothing, you know, part of me wants to make videos on these subjects, but there's just no point, because there's no rational conversation. Yeah, they're really, you know, you can't argue, you know, with people who are not, don't feel any obligation to make a, I don't mean, you know, pragmatic for the sake of being pragmatic, but I just mean it has to have some sort of practical reality. And as Imperial fully admits, yet there's nothing practical in his argument. He's pretending the future is going to be a place where we're going to spend money building all kinds of fun and great infrastructure, and that will employ all this excess labor we have. And we already know we haven't done that since the Hoover Dam. You know, we're defunding everything government ever does, and all we're doing is financing a bunch of capitalist rackets where we pay people $10 an hour. You know, a bunch of, let's put solar panels on your roof. We'll pay a bunch of illegals $10 an hour and do something inefficiently and subsidize it and all. I mean, it's just all bad news. There's no good news to any of this shit. This isn't civilization. And that's an argument he made. I did see the comment page just a little bit on the Quintica video, and it was just, you know, Pirro said, look how rich our country is, as an example of somehow how immigration made us rich. And we already know where our money came from. Our money came from first exploiting slaves, second exploiting South America, third exploiting Chinese. We know that's where all the wealth came from. It's all exploitation wealth. It has nothing to do with treating immigrants well. It has nothing to do with advancing into a civilization or doing any of that kind of stuff. It just has to do with essentially exporting a notion, a kind of slavery. We enslave people in other countries and steal the value of their labor. And that's the wealth. And now we have a complete service economy that's we only have any economy at all because the rich are so preposterously wealthy. And having an influx of immigrant labor is just going to facilitate the creation of a two-tiered society, desperately poor and preposterously rich, and there will be nothing in between. So I'm saying that's about as close to complete disaster as you can get. So bravo, Pirro. You're an idiot. You're not a progressive, you're a regressive. And a fool, and a dupe, and, yeah. Fuck, you're dumb. So anyway, till next time.